In October 2023, Convoy, the American digital freight startup backed by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, once valued at $3.8 billion, shut down almost overnight. Not acquired, not merged, just shut down. It wasn't alone. Uber Freight posted roughly $500 million in operating losses in 2023 and cut jobs. Transfix in New York laid off a third of its workforce and moved away from pure digital brokerage. LotSmart pulled back from brokerage into software tools. The Ubers of logistics, the idea that a platform alone could disrupt freight collapsed across the world. And India, the same movie in our own language. Between 2013 and 2018, funding into Indian logistics startup exploded from $161 million to almost $3 billion. Then reality arrived. Rivigo, once a unicorn that raised over $300 million, was sold to Mahindra Logistics in 2022 for the value of trucks they had. Dozens of freight platforms quietly shut down or pivoted. From Seattle to Gurgaon to Mumbai, digitalisation version 1 promised to transform logistics and quietly ran out of road. But a second wave is building, and this time the technology is going deep inside the industry, not sitting on top of it. In this episode, I will explain you what this new wave look like, especially now that the world's ports are proving it works, and what India must do to ride it instead of watching from the show. Stay with me till the end. That's where the details matter most for anyone in Indian logistic companies. Let's be honest about what went wrong. The first wave of logistic digitalization was built on one sedative idea: the platform. Match trucks with load, match shippers with the forwarders, and put a booking engine on top of the 100-year-old industry and take a commission. It's easy to build a platform. Any decent tech team can build a site that look like Blinkit or Zomato in few months, or maybe in few days also. But Blinkit's real mode was never the app. It was the dark stores, the vendor tie-ups, the inventory signs, the delivery network, and years of grinding operational work behind the screen. The app is a visible 10%. Operational excellence is the invisible 90%. Freight platforms learned this the hard way, because logistics has characteristics that make this pure aggregation brutally difficult. Ocean freight pricing changes daily and depends on customer-specific contracts. Relationships, credit terms, and service quality matter more than the lowest rate what you see on the screen. And freight forwarders earn their money through documentation, customs, claims, and exception handling, and not just through booking a container. And large cargo owners negotiate directly with the carriers anyway. They were never going to shop on a marketplace. Convoy learned this in America when it started going down. It treated logistics as a tech platform problem when it was always an operational resilience problem. In India, add one more layer, that is 90% of trucking was unorganized and fragmented, running on phone calls, trust, and cash. Platform like Rivigo could digitalize the booking, but it could not digitalize the business. Similar was the case with all freight platforms who tried to digitize booking and failed when they realized logistics work on operational excellence. So, digitalization 1.0 failed not because the technology was bad, but because it digitized the front end of an industry whose real problem live in the back end. And that is exactly why AI is fundamentally different story. AI doesn't try to replace the industry's structure with a marketplace. It goes straight into the back end, the operations, the scheduling, the forecasting, and the exceptions. It attacks the 90% that platform never touched. And the money is following. The global smart port market was worth around $4 billion in 2024 and is projected to cross $39 billion by 2034, a compound growth rate of around 25% in a year. This is not hype. This is capital chasing a problem, and AI is actually solving. In January 2026, BCG and APEGA surveyed more than 180 logistic leaders across Europe, North America, Asia, and the Middle East. Three findings stand out. Number one, over 40% of shippers now factor AI capabilities into how they select their logistic providers. That means your customers have already started asking for AI. Number 2, about 40% of logistic providers have moved beyond pilots, but only 1 in 10 have scaled AI across core operations with measurable financial impact. Number 3, and this is the one that should make every Indian logistic providers sit up. In Asia Pacific, 31% of providers report embedding AI into core operation. North America, 14%, and Europe, just 6%. The center of gravity of this transformation is in our region. The survey also talks about the barriers. It is no longer technology cost. Technology is not the bottleneck, but internal capability gaps and execution is the problem. The companies winning at AI are the operators themselves, that is, the ports, carriers, terminal operators, and not outside disruptors trying to sit on top of them. Now, let me explain you what this looks like when it works. Rotterdam, Europe's largest port, runs AI-powered digital tin scheduling. Every vessel arrival is stimulated before it happens. This results in ships saving hours in berth scheduling, cut fuel burn by arriving just in time instead of idling a tanker, and reduce emission per call. Rotterdam didn't become a benchmark through flashy robotics. It became one through the boring, disciplined work of digital scheduling. Singapore, China, and South Korea are pushing the next layer. Private 5G network combined with the edge of AI, giving every container a digital tin track continuity from gate in to gate out. On the carrier side, CMA CGM signed a strategic collaboration with Google to push AI across its global operation, that is in predictive maintenance, container utilization, arrival time estimate, and yard and crane optimization. And the newest frontier is agentic AI, that is autonomous AI agents that detect a transport delay or a material flow disruption in real time and automatically initiate countermeasure. Multiple agents work in parallel, linking planning, warehousing, scheduling, and shipping. Industry analysts are calling 2026 the year AI moved from isolated pilot into daily operations. The pattern in every successful case is identical. Less idle time, fewer empty moments, tighter consolidation, and predictive operations instead of reactive firefighting. And most importantly, none of these are platforms. All of them are examples of operational excellence powered by AI. So, where does India stand? Better than most people think, and this is recent news. First, let me talk about the macro level status. India's logistic cost, which stood at around 13 to 14% of GDP a decade ago, is now estimated at roughly 8% per recent government estimates. Real progress is driven by GST, dedicated freight corridors, Gati Shakti, and overall improvement of infrastructure. But that still translates to over $150 billion of annual costs locked inside fragmented supply chain. This is a price on the table. Second, the ports. In May 2026, JNPA's 37th Foundation Day, the Ministry of Ports launched the Logistic Port Performance Index, a national benchmarking framework measuring vessel turnaround time, berth idle time, pre-berthing waiting time, and container dwell time across Indian ports. At the same event, JNPA unveiled Nivida, that is India's first AI-driven tender evaluation engine, plus an indigenously developed vessel traffic service system. This was one of the major features which helped JNPA to have faster vessel turnaround time of 1.5 to 1.8 days. Third, private capital, and this is massive. In February 2026, the Adani Group committed $100 billion to sovereign AI infrastructure, explicitly embedding agentic AI across its logistics, port and industrial corridors under Gati Shakti. And in June 2026, Adani Port expanded its partnership with Caleris, a $100 million AI deployment across 15 container terminals in 9 ports, part of an $850 million automation program. Their target is 20% improvement in crane productivity and 91 million tons of additional capacity unlocked purely through the efficiency of AI. And it's not based on new concrete or no new berth, but 10% more capacity from intelligence alone. The first wave tried to build new marketplaces, but this wave skews us more out of the infrastructure we already have. Momentum is real. But momentum is not victory. Let me talk on the 5 moves that decide whether India can capture this wave. Number 1, move from benchmarking to binding KPIs. The Logistic Port Performance Index, or LPPI, is an excellent diagnostic tool. But metrics without consequences don't change behavior. AI-driven dwell time and evacuation KPIs must be written into agreements and not just published in annual indices. Number 2, prioritize predictive yard management over flashy automation. What made Rotterdam a benchmark was digital tin scheduling and not robots. Indian terminals should build that capability first before capital-intensive automation. Number 3, build interoperable data standards. Dozens of CFS, multiple terminal operators, custom system exist in port infrastructure, but AI forecasting work only if data flows between them. India desperately needs this interoperability layers, and it should be treated as national digital infrastructure. Number 4, invest in workforce transition alongside automation. The BCG data is very clear. Capability gaps and not technology is a number 1 barrier. Truck drivers, terminal operators, CFS staff need upskilling pathway, not just displacement. Companies that invest in people capture the AI advantage. Companies that only buy software will not. Number 5, scale pilot project nationally very fast. We have done this before and can do this the India way, like we did for UPI, Aadhaar and GST. We have scaled the digital public infrastructure at a level no other country has matched. That same playbook, a unified national logistic AI layer connecting every major port under Gati Shakti, is exactly what India requires now. So, is AI the next wave of digitization in India? The first wave failed because it digitized the storefront of logistics. This new wave is different because it digitizes the engine room, that is scheduling, forecasting, yard operations, and consolidate the infrastructure. It attacks operational excellence directly, and which is the only thing that ever mattered in this industry. India has the infrastructure ambition, the digital governance track record, the private capital, and now with the Logistic Port Performance Index, NIVIDA, and the Adani commitments. So, the early building blocks are already in place. The technology is no longer the bottleneck, but execution still is. Rotterdam took a decade of boring, disciplined work to become a benchmark. India has every advantage to write that same story faster. The only variable left out is whether our urgency matches our ambition. If this episode gave you a new way to think about AI in logistics, share it with one person in your supply chain team, and I will see you next week.